Welcome, everyone. This is Jim Sporer with ISSIP, the International Society of Service Innovation Professionals. And it's my pleasure today to be talking with Professor Roland Rust of the University of Maryland. And Roland is one of our newest ISSIP Fellows, which is the highest award that we have to give at ISSIP. It's an honorary award because of somebody's distinguished career that we hope will be a role model for early career people in the ISSIP community. So thank you, Roland, for being such a great champion of service research through your career. And we're delighted to have this opportunity to just ask you a few questions. And the first question I'd like to ask is, how did you start your service journey? When did you become interested in service?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I started out really working on advertising media models. So I was doing a lot of complicated quantitative models to help companies make money, and nothing wrong with that. But I also got to the point where I said, I really think I need to do something for real people, for consumers. And I said, what can I do? I was in Austin, Texas at the time, and they had a consumers union advocacy office in Austin. And so
Mhm.
I went and volunteered to do pro bono work for them. So that was what got me into service. I was definitely working on this from the standpoint of being very consumer oriented.
Got it.
Uh,
Pro bono, that sounds fascinating. So how far after that did you start the Journal of Service Research and the Frontiers in Service Conference?
Well, that stuff all happened after I moved to Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Vanderbilt hired me to be the chair of their department, and I thought, well, we have a small department. It's only 6 or 7 people. So I said, we have to have some sort of specialization. And so we took a very strategic view, and we said, where is the place in the economy that's growing the fastest? And that was service.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, we're gonna do service, and we hired a guy who was a customer satisfaction expert, Rich Oliver,
Wow.
and a- and then eventually hired Donna Hoffman and Tom Novak, who are more internet people, but just at the beginning of the internet, basically. And I, of course, was into that as well at the very beginning. And we had another Richard Oliver in the department, Rick Oliver, who was a former VP at Nortel.
Okay.
And so his technical interests and mine really fit together really well. So, but anyway, I was taking a look at the service community, and I thought, we really need to bring the community together. We need to create some things that bring the community together. So the first thing I did was create the Center for Service Marketing at that time at
Hmm.
Vanderbilt. So founded the center, and then got a number of people involved, companies, you know about this, and yeah, we then said, okay, what can we do now to bring the community together besides building our center? And we said, okay, there needs to be a conference. We need to have a conference, an annual conference that brings the community together. So I founded the Frontiers and Service Conference in 1992. It's now in its 33rd year,
Yeah.
and the next one will be next month in Montreal,
Great.
and we've held it all over the world.
Wow.
And that's been very successful at bringing the community together. The next thing that I thought was important was to have a journal for the field. And so I founded the Journal of Service Research in 1998, and it's now been around for 27 years. And it actually entered the Impact Factor as one of the top cited journals in business, and it's been that ever since.
And I want to say that both that Journal of Service Research and that Frontiers in Service Conference intersected with my life around December 2002, and I was asked to start the service research area of IBM, and I had my team say, "Okay, start digging. What do we need to know about first day, literally, I think within the first hour, somebody says, "Hey, there's a journal of service research. We got to read these back issues. This is great stuff," and then they said there's this Frontiers conference where they get together. And I remember my first Frontiers conference. Mary Jo Bittner was running it from her Service
Hmm. Hmm.
Leadership Center there at Arizona State University. And wow, it was like meeting everybody in the field. You could meet everybody, and it wasn't just the marketing, the operations research people were there, people from industry. It became a favorite conference for IBM for years. To present there as well, the service research. So, uh, starting that journal and starting that conference, Roland, I think were absolutely the right thing to do. And just one other quick story, if I can. I remember internally we were having our first service research meeting at IBM Research in Almaden, and it was difficult because you were teaching courses and we were having it on a day that was difficult for you, but you flew all the way to California and took the red eye to be there. And of course, did a fantastic presentation. And I remember I was sitting by a vice president in our global services business who I was asking for funding to help us do more service research. And after your talk, the VP leaned over to me and said, "How much money did you say you needed?" And I said, "About 1 million." And they said, "You got it." So,
Nice. Nice.
so
I
you,
wish that happened every time I asked for $1 million.
it was very impactful, I'll just say that. And now, just shifting gears, tell me about AI, because you're also a leader in the AI field, Roland.
Yeah.
How do you see those two intertwining?
Yeah, well, I see that as an extension of technology. And of course, technology is really central to service in general. So I got involved with technology right off the bat. I mean, I wrote a paper in 1994, which was basically what I thought the internet was going to turn out to be. It
Mm,
was before the first web browser.
wow.
For example, one of the things that I predicted was that there would be this thing called the Nobot, which is a knowledge robot. And the idea that was what they started to call this search engine.
Yeah.
We didn't have a term for it. We call it a Nobot.
No bot. Yeah.
Um,
KNOW bot. Yeah.
yeah. So I was really involved with technology right from the get-go, and I could see that the internet was going to be it, was going to be where things went. And then, of course, you have to then have the technologies for actually analyzing data, and that's where AI comes in. And then I met my wife, Minghui Wang,
Yeah.
who was an IS professor in Taiwan, and
Information
we
systems. Yeah.
had
Yeah.
very similar interests, and as AI became more and more important, we were early into AI. In our field, we were probably several years before everybody else.
Mm.
But we could see that that was where things were going to go, and we needed to work on it. And of course, that's what my book is about right there
Yeah.
that you see
The
behind
feeling
me.
economy book.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah. I I I guess two more quick things. One is one of the things I admire most that I see in your efforts to build community, which we try to do at ISIP, is you are a big tent thinker. You
yeah,
want disciplines, it's like you want the social sciences, you want the engineering, you really do a great job of not only, just lip service, but making sure they know this is why your work is so important to what we're doing in the service research area. You really built that big tent community fantastically. And I think you had a short introduction to a Journal of Service Research once about the big tent
yeah,
community that I really,
absolutely. I believe in it totally. And I can't say I've been 100% successful at doing this, but I've done
it's
my
hard.
best. And certainly one of the things I tried to do with JSR was get people from a lot of different fields together. So,
Yeah.
for example, one of the top operations people in the world, Pat Harker, who's now president of the university, uh, was one of the early people in that.
Excellent.
Klaus Fornell, who's done a lot of great work, was one of the early people. and then we had a bunch of great business people
Hmm.
involved with really the first issues because I thought it was really important to have the business point of view. And so we did that as well. And that's a hard thing to maintain, but we really did our best to get the best
Yeah.
thinkers in the business world involved.
Well, I hope AI can help us build this big tent because it's a master at translating things from one point of view to another point of view. Even the current generation of AI seems to do a pretty good job at that point of view
Yeah.
shifting and vocabulary shifting. But I guess my last question is, as you know, the ISIP community is a relatively small community. We're only about 2,000 participants, but we, global, good balance between industry and academia. As you think about students who are starting their careers today, maybe they're still students or maybe they're recent graduates. What kind of advice would you give them as they're going into this world, Roland, to have a as exciting and wonderful a career as you've had?
Well, it depends whether it's a PhD grad or MBA grad or an undergraduate grad. Those would be different stories. But for let's say undergrads or MBAs, I would say the big thing to realize is how much AI is going to change everything.
Hmm.
It's going to take a lot of tasks that people are used to doing. And in fact, a lot of those tasks are people that entry level people would do in the past. And so
Yeah.
you see a lot of practitioners now talking about we're not going to hire as many people because AI is going to do those tasks.
Hmm.
I mean, you saw
So do they have to
Meta
become
just said that.
entrepreneurs? Do they have to become entrepreneurs, or what do they got to
Uh,
do?
what
Apprenticeships?
I say is that they've got to get good at people facing jobs
Okay.
because that's what's really going to matter. If you're a technical person, you're a coder,
Hmm.
you write reports based on routine data. No, you're going to be gone.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's going to be gone. But there's still a need for people to lead and to be people facing. Sales is going to be an important thing
Hmm.
still,
Yeah.
even though technology is taking over a lot of sales now,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
it won't take it over as fast. In fact, that's what we say is that Minghui and I say
Hmm.
that really you're going to also lose the feeling tasks eventually, but that's going to take longer.
Mm.
So if you want to be safe for the longest possible time, be in a people-facing job.
Okay. And it's never been easier to start a startup than it is today, but it's never been harder to stand out in the competition. What about your advice for like a PhD or that level? Um,
Yeah, well, that's a problem too because of course even their job is going to get taken.
mhm.
I remember a few years ago the editor at the time of the Journal of Marketing was standing in front of a group and he was saying, AI is going to take my job too. And it's really true. Well, the CEO of Anthropic just came out and said that not long ago. He
Yeah,
said AI is going to take over my job along with everybody else's job. It's just a matter of how long it takes.
yeah, yeah.
Of course,
And what do
Sam Altman has an interesting quote. He said, "Well, AI is going to probably take over the world, but meanwhile, we'll have a lot of great companies." I thought that was
well,
pretty good.
and yeah, I think a lot of great companies, and I think people love, I mean, a lot of people, not everyone, love to learn and improve themselves, right? And I know you, in addition to everything else you're doing, helped Olympic teams develop their skills to excel in sports, and
Yeah,
you
that's been
excelled.
fun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fun stuff. So even though we may be, we can't run as fast as a car, we still value developing our capabilities as humans and learning. And that is maybe closer to a hobby than earning a living with a job. But where do you see things in terms of uh, personal development?
Well, personal development is going to be helped a lot by AI. I mean, yeah, you've made this point a lot that imagine you have 50 assistants that
That's
are
right.
just as smart as you are. I
Right.
mean, that's an incredible thought experiment.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have not thought of what they would do with those people, but that's the
Yeah.
world we're living in.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I mean, you already have all these agent, the agentic AI, is out there and it is real and it's becoming more and more important and more people are using it.
We agree totally that people have to start setting bigger goals, and they should be goals that co-create as much value as they can, because that's the win-win service way, the big tent service way. So, thank you, Roland, for this interview. I will stop the recording, get it posted in the next couple days, and look forward to having you on our next progress call with the board so more people in the community can meet you.
Well, thanks very much, Jim. I really appreciate the opportunity and I love your organization and I think you're doing great work.
Thank you.